So, you been playing any games lately?
I have been mainlining Minecraft like nonstop for the last 3 weeks. It's all I've played.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, hell yeah. I have to pop into the server. I
A
have not
lot's changed.
I have not been checking it out. A lot? Whoa, okay, all right.
Yeah, it's kind of bad
I'm
actually.
excited.
Mm, well, yes.
Wait, what do you mean?
I've just been putting in a lot of time, but you know.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm excited. I did see in the chat August and Priya were talking about, I don't know if you want to censor it or not. I don't know, whatever. Sorry if you do. Uh but they were talking about you're leaving like
Signs.
signs as like little notes.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
I'm
and
excited to see it.
and the like censorship of the signs because August
Oh
posted like
yeah.
pee pee poo poo and it was like blanked out. I posted
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
I went around after that and I posted signs at each person's place, and then I posted one on your like at your house or whatever, and like I wrote in
It's like
parentheses.
notice to vacate.
No, no, no. That's really funny though. I'll do that after this. No, in parentheses I put like uh fuck, someone cooked here voice, someone pissed here or something like that, and it stayed.
Yeah.
But then the next time I logged in, they bleeped piss, and so it was just like someone here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
That's so weird, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mojang's sort of like weird with the censorship. I remember like as a kid trying that out, and like it was definitely like any curse word was just like bleeped. It was just gone.
Yeah.
Um but I think we would try to get away with stuff by writing like class instead of ass. Like you find like a real word that has like your word inside of it. You just put that there.
Well, that's one of the things I had put. There was something I did that like didn't bleep it. I can't remember what it was. Oh, like if you say like, oh, I can't remember. It was something about poo poo or something, and it wasn't bleeped because I was like, what are the
Yeah.
limitations of
Right.
this system? So but oh,
Like
like
there are limits
balls.
in there, yeah.
Like if you said like suck my balls, it would
Oh,
get bleeped. But then I put like actual bouncy balls, like those words on the sign, and it did not get
yeah.
bleeped. So I was like, all right, someone's like really thinking this through. Like they have real good like
It's
censorship.
that's what actually all the Minecraft devs get paid for is like the signs just get like
That's
flashed
it.
across their screens
That's
and they
all
have to
they
like
do.
approve
Yeah.
and deny.
Like the
Yeah.
scene in Incredibles where it's like the which
Yeah,
superheroes get
yeah.
eliminated.
Beep beep. Brr, brr, yeah.
But no, that's all I've
And then
been
like
doing.
Mr. Incredible is like the one guy approving them. And
Yeah,
then like
and
when he
he's just
tries to
like,
like
oh
run
my
away, like
god.
escape from his job, they start shooting him with like the weird like ball things. And like over the intercom it goes, actual bouncy balls. Like brr, 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 brr.
Perfect. Exactly. Um, but no, that's all I've been playing lately. I abandoned Cozy Grove. I kind of got to the end of the game and I was like,
Wow.
this is not
Yeah.
satisfying me anymore.
Yeah, I kind of feel that. I haven't really been satisfied with games in general lately.
Yeah.
So a bunch of my friends picked up RuneScape Dragon Wilds, and one of them picked it up for me as well. Thank you, Sebastian.
Shout out Sebastian.
And I played with them a couple of times, and so it's a survival game, and there's like building involved, right? But there's also like I don't know. It feels like there's like two tech trees, right? But they're kind of hand in hand because there's like the combat tech tree, and then there's the like building tech tree, but they're kind of hand in hand because it's like, well, if you want like decent, oh, and there's like food and water mechanics. You have to eat and drink constantly.
God, this sounds awful. This sounds like the worst game
Ah,
ever made.
I was, dude, I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, oh, like I thought the words to myself, I like the game. I just don't really like, spending time in it. And I was like, no, Ricky, that means you don't like the fucking game. And I was like, wait a second, I don't like this fucking game. It like hit me all at once. I was like, wait, I just don't like it, man. And it's like okay. I don't know. One of my friends did this with me with Pal World. He was like, I'm just not like playing another survival game. I'm not hitting the tree. I'm not hitting the rocks. I'm not building a house. I'm not playing another survival game, man. And now I kind of feel it because like this was my one that was like it was too far. I'm like, all right, like cool. I just don't want to play it. I think a lot of it comes down to I think it's not finished yet. I'm pretty sure it's not finished yet. If it is finished, Jesus Christ. But like there's a lot of stuff where it's like, oh, like I could see how this could be cool. And then like as you get like further into the levels, you're like, all right, like when does this expand? Because
Yeah.
like I need more. Specifically, I'm thinking about like magic fighting. There's like a couple of spells which are like kind of lackluster. Which like everyone gets. If you have a wizard staff, you can like shoot like fire or air, and that's it. And there's two things that you can shoot. It's fire or air, and then like they have like different attack patterns essentially, where it's like with fire, if you hit it 4 times, it like does progressively. It does like a different animation every time. It's like a different attack, yada yada. And then with air, it's 3. And I'm like, dude, like this is not enough features for it to be like
A
a feature
game.
in the game,
Yeah.
man. Like
Ugh.
I don't know, give me like water, give me a little water bolt thing. Give me lightning. How like every fucking game has lightning in it, man. Like that's such a I don't know. It's crazy.
It seems lackluster.
So I don't know.
You said it's a
It's
RuneScape
lackluster
game?
for right now. Yeah, RuneScape Dragon Wilds.
That's
so I don't know if
crazy.
it's by the same creators, Jagex, but
Or
yeah,
Jag
I don't
off.
know. Truly. So instead of playing that, I have been playing games that I have and I already know I like. One of them being Inscription, which I recently beat again. And I've finally gotten to I think 80% complete for the achievements. 85. I have 4 achievements left. So I have to go back through the game and replay it to like pick up on some of the achievements that I didn't get playing the game the first time.
What is Inscription? Is this a game you've told me about?
It is a game I've told you about. It's a
I don't pay attention to what you
roguelike deck
say.
builder.
Oh,
which is
right.
why
Yes, that's why I
liked it.
completely tuned it out.
Um,
Yes, that's right. I immediately forgot that. I was like, eject. I don't need this knowledge in my head.
It has one of my favorite. So I mean, outside of having I think the like tightest control or not controls, but tightest like gameplay of any roguelike deck builders that I played. It mixes it up a lot throughout the game, and it has one of the best stories of any game that I've played. In like a very sort of like like I don't know. It's weird. It's obviously like an indie production, right? But they do a lot with a little. And I'm a big fan of like games that aren't I guess over the top. Like you don't have to have like I don't know. I was looking at like GTA 6, right? And they have like bubbles in like the like cans of soda and stuff. And I'm like, you don't have to do all of that, right? Like,
Yeah.
I vastly prefer a game that has a lot sort of going on in the periphery that doesn't really directly affect gameplay, but like when you sort of look into it, you're like, oh, cool, this game has lore. And it's like fun. And not in like a Five Nights at Freddy way, but kind of in a Five Nights at Freddy way, you know? So
Saying roguelike deck builder, it sounds like what's that fucking machine from Forensic Files that they always say? Gas chromatograph mass
Forensic Files?
spectrometer? Yeah, that one.
So yes, yeah, gas chromatograph mass spectrometer is a thing, yeah.
Well, yeah, I know it's a thing.
From like CSI or something?
No, Forensic Files.
Forensic
the
Files.
true crime one. Yeah, that's like one of the only TV shows I ever watched a lot of episodes of, because it was, for some reason, I watched it a lot when I was at the hotel. When I like worked at a front desk of a hotel, I always watched that. I don't know why. But yeah, I feel like they're digestible. Yeah, it might have just been that it was on the TV, but yeah. Anyway, that's what roguelike deck builder is, just such a disgusting phrase that's so clunky and full of consonants. It reminds me of gas chromatograph mass spectrometer.
I love the phrase personally. I think it's funny, and I've seen like people make roguelike deck builders where like you have to like go into like you have to like sneak into people's houses and like build a deck in their backyard without them noticing.
Well, it also makes me
really
think it reminds me of the game that Christopher plays, shout out Christopher, Hard Space Shipbreaker, which is just like a fake name. Like that's like and every time I say it, I like to do the dad joke of like messing up which word is in which order and being like hardship space whatever, you know. But yeah, roguelike deck builder sounds like that too. Like you could just that's just a meaningless phrase.
It is kind of meaningless, yeah. Except it's just the meaning of the words one after the other. I don't like the phrase roguelike or roguelites. I don't fuck with that, man.
It's stupid. My thing. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I love the games. I just don't like that. I don't like that phrase. Like, no, thank you.
Fuck Blueprints, by the way. I tried to fuck Steam. I played that game for like less than 2 hours, and Steam won't refund me because it had been more than 2 weeks since I had bought it. And I was like, really? You can see that I haven't played it in 2 weeks since I bought it.
Yeah,
you know, Gabe.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Do you really not like it at all?
No.
I've heard only good things about it.
It's
I have two friends who are like playing it. And they enjoy it. But...
It's literally the genre we just talk shit about, or I just talk shit about.
It is. It is not a deck builder, though.
Yes, it is. It's a deck builder, even though it's not like a traditional deck builder. It is a deck builder. It is a deck building game.
I'll have to play it to see what you're talking about, but
we went over this.
I'll give it a try and get back to you. Yeah. I don't know.
Just because you don't have literal cards or whatever, like
no. I know. I
know
get that, and I agree with it, right? But I don't know. I guess to me it depends on how apparent the like loading of the deck is, right?
Yeah.
Versus I don't know, because there's games like the Bazaar and whatnot, which I would definitely call like deck builders.
You're the fucking Bazaar.
I love the Bazaar. That game's really fun. But like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of games that you can almost sort of classify as a deck builder, even if it's like kind of not. You know.
You know what you can't classify as a deck builder? Minecraft. You know what else you can't classify? Mario. The two best games on Earth. Definitely not deck builders.
100% like a Mario deck builder out there.
Honestly,
what's the one memory game? Like the Mario memory game where you have to flip over two of the like matching cards.
Yeah, that was a mini game though, so doesn't quite count. Yeah, I did. Well, anyway.
I mean, you can pick up stuff in Mario Party, and like there's a currency system for picking up items and picking up stars.
This is rapidly
steal stars
devolving into like
the
really annoying pedantic way that people talk about like, oh, actually everything is a hot dog or everything's a sandwich. Soup is a sandwich.
Yeah.
Cereal is a soup, which means cereal is a sandwich.
Hot dog.
Yeah, fuck off. So that's what this sounds like. You're like, actually, Minecraft is a deck builder.
I'm just saying they're blocks instead of cards, but you're just making 64 stacks of decks, you know.
Do you want to introduce this week's movie since this was a Rick's pick? Also the podcast that we're on.
Yeah, I can do both of those things. I mean the podcast that we're on is We Want to Watch. My name's Ricky.
I'm Lane.
And the movie we watched was a Rick's pick, and it was
Jesus Christ. Ricky has to fucking look up.
Give me 1 second.
God damn.
I thought Ricky's I had it.
Furiously Googling. Furiously. Also, you didn't actually say...
Okay, I thought I still had a tab for this open. I did not.
Okay, first of all...
this week was...
First of all, you didn't actually introduce the podcast. You just said what the podcast was. You didn't actually say what we do here.
Okay, all right. What we do here is I'm the lowbrow clown that Lane berates and tries to force into making like cognizant points about movies that we've watched and want to watch. And Lane is the highbrow, aristocratic
I did not say that. No one has said
purveyor
this.
of fine films.
You have literally one of my... The Departed is my favorite Scorsese movie. Like, I can't be highbrow.
So?
You want? Yes, it is a Rick's pick. Now that you have the Wikipedia page up.
Pick. The Wikipedia page. This week's movie was Yi Yi from the year 2000, directed by Edward Yang.
Yes. Why'd you pick this?
It was a part of a list of a bunch of movies that I had suggested to you previously, and many of them had been culled for one reason or another, but this one had made the cut. So when we were looking at Rick's picks,
Hell
this
yeah,
one found its way.
Do you know where you had previously heard of this movie though? Like, was it on like someone recommended it to you or?
Yeah, it was on someone's Letterboxd. I'd like gone through and I'd like grabbed a bunch of their top movies, and
Nice.
that was like the list that I had pitched at you. It was like movies I saw from that was like, oh, this looks interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think I had mentioned last week that this was the one of the very first movies I had like added to my watch list when I joined Letterboxd,
Mhm.
however 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and so it was like every time, it organizes your watch list by default by like most recently added to oldest, and so it was always at the very very end of the
Kept getting
800
shuffled
movies.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, so
You know, now that I think about it, Letterboxd is a bit of a roguelike deck builder.
you know what, this has been We Want to Watch. Next week
My name was Ricky.
was, because he's dead now, because I'm gonna
What?
drive to
Yeah.
bleep and go bite you. Um, no, I'm glad that you picked this. Funnily enough, this is a. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page as well as I do to pull up these things so I can see the cast and whatnot. But they this movie premiered at Cannes in 2000. So interesting.
Oh.
That's like the third Cannes thing that's come up in the last week. Obviously, Cannes is happening
Yeah. Do you want to
as we're
mention the other
recording
two?
this. The first one was that today, as of this recording, is the 50th anniversary of the premiere of Jean Dielman, which was cool.
Woohoo!
And the other thing is that Gerard Depardieu got convicted of sexual assault, which is not funny, but I'm laughing because it happened on the day that Cannes opened, and I was like, "Ha! That's what you get, fucker."
Yeah, I saw you mention that. Who is this person?
He's an actor. I don't know that
Okay.
you would know anything that he's in. He kind of like. People call him an ogre, which like is mean about his appearance, but also he's a complete fucking evil scumbag. Like just the most disgusting French, like depraved, nasty,
All you had
lecherous
to
kind
say
of
was
guy.
French, Lane.
He was in Man in the Iron Mask. If you ever watch, I feel like that's the most famous thing. He was Cyrano in an adaptation of Cyrano de Bergerac back in the 90s. He was pretty famous for that. He's in Hamlet, one of the adaptations that we'll watch one day. He looks like this. If you've seen his face before, like if you've ever seen a movie from like the 90s, early 2000s where it's like we needed like a gross lecherous French man, like who just like cared, I don't know. He's probably gonna sue me.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's a
So like he would
weirdo.
play Ben Franklin in like a biography or
He looks
biopic?
like biopic.
Yeah.
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 He looks a little like Ben Franklin, yeah. But
Yeah.
French. Anyway, so rest in piss, asshole. He has a suspended sentence and whatever, but the French, they're not like us. But
They should suspend him from. Whoa, wait.
well, But no, I mean this. I'm glad you picked this movie, just because I feel like we've often watched like important capital ITM important movies, and we've watched artsy movies, but I don't know that we've watched a lot of like prestige festival movies. Like I don't know, and that's kind of an interesting like thing to consider, or like a kind of like an interesting genre. Go ahead.
Aren't Ari Aster's films considered that?
No, not at all.
No?
I mean, Ari Aster's premiered some movies. I don't think it can. Probably like
Okay. Oh, I'm thinking
maybe
of like
Venice.
the Sundance Film Festival. I think is where.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of different film festivals. So, well, no, actually, can't. Ari Aster's latest movie, Eddington, the one that hasn't come out yet with Pedro Pascal and Joaquin Phoenix. I'm jerking off vigorously, off screen. But
That was on screen, Lane. You realize I can see your screen.
shit. That was for Gerard Depardieu. Just kidding. No, so I think that might be premiering at Cannes. But anyway, I mean, I wouldn't call
cool.
his movies like prestige in the same way. He gets
Right.
attention, like auteur attention, but I wouldn't necessarily say prestige. Like I'm looking at like his like at our movies that we've seen. I would consider like The Piano Teacher, Secrets and Lies, Jean Dielman, like those are some of the ones kind of, in this genre, but even things that are like well regarded, like class, like Nashville, I don't think is like a festival movie, for example, or like The Exorcist, right? So anyway, Just interesting to think about.
Yeah.
What'd you think of this movie?
I liked it. Sorry, I was looking up.
Ricky say something other than, I don't know, I liked it, challenge.
Pretty tough for me, buddy. Yeah, interesting.
Huh.
There are a ton of film festivals. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's like 5 or 6 really famous ones, so.
Yeah. Yeah. I remembered reading that Cloud Atlas had a standing ovation, and the more movies that I watch, I'm like, how did that movie get a standing ovation? That's kind of crazy.
Okay.
And it was at the Toronto Film Festival.
Toronto's really famous for getting the huge. Toronto and Cannes and Venice are the 3 I think that get the most, like, you see those headlines where it's like, Shrek got a 15-minute standing ovation. Here's the tea on the standing ovations and like why they're so long. Number 1, not everyone is clapping the whole time that's happening. It's a huge audience of like a couple thousand or like at least a few hundred people, right? Number 1. Number 2, it's not that they're just standing there clapping at the screen as the credits roll. Like, they're clapping because usually after these types of premieres, the cast and crew are walking up from this huge fucking amphitheater, finding their way to the front. And then usually there's like a Q&A or they'll take a bow or whatever. So it's like, oftentimes that's a function of just how big the arena is or how much cast there is or how old these people are and how much trouble they have getting to the stage. So
yeah.
You can't just say like, oh, it has a 20-minute standing ovation. It's like how much they love the movie. It's not how that is. So anyway,
Yeah,
that's a pet peeve of mine.
Especially with a huge crew, and I feel like this probably had a pretty big one. Like there were already like a pretty big cast in it. I mean, not this movie. I'm talking about Cloud Atlas.
I was gonna say,
I feel like yeah, pretty big crew as well.
Yeah.
And I think it only had like an 8-minute standing ovation. So like as soon as like the last lighting guy was like walking off the stage, like,
it's not the whole crew, but yeah. I mean, yeah.
I know. I'm joking around.
But no, for sure. I mean, well, and Cloud Atlas is a deeply flawed but big swing of a movie. So
it
is
artsy
a big types,
swing.
whatever.
I still have a soft spot for it. I just don't think it's nearly as good as I once thought it was.
Sure, that's fair. That's fair. You got to get on Letterboxd and like really flesh out your lists and stuff, like and start marking these movies as watched and like ranking them.
I get that. The thing is, the difference between like the reviews I would have given to movies a year ago versus the review I'd give a movie now is like staggering, right?
Really, a year ago? You think? Not 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, a year ago you were 6 months into this podcast.
Wow, that's crazy. Time flies, man.
Hey.
Yeah, so like a year and a half ago, I would have given such staggering. Even a year ago, I think I would have given different because like I had only like sort of started dipping my toe in like I guess not analyzing movies, but looking at them a little bit more critically, right?
Sure. So. Yeah. About a year ago, I actually got the reminder or like the memory on my Photos app that was like, "Hey, a year ago you stayed in this fuck ass hotel and recorded the." What's that Kevin Spacey movie? Beyond the Sea episode in Dallas. Yeah. It's like, wow, time flies. But yeah, no, what did you think of this movie besides I liked it?
It was an interesting take on like interpersonal relations. I also
You sound like a cop. Internet
Do I?
Yeah, interpersonal relations.
Yeah. Well,
you mean
I don't know how to describe.
You mean moving relationship stories?
Yeah. People and the ways in which they move throughout the world. Yeah.
Humanity and the world around us.
I don't know. I do want to say, and this is like, I don't know, maybe a weird observation, but the number of times that we've watched movies where like guy gets like spurned by a girl and then like the girl who like goes and tells him, who is not like the original girl, like he falls for her.
Have we watched a lot of those? Oh, okay.
no, which isn't a lot, right? But it's funny that it's happened like twice and they were both like Chinese movies, right?
What movie are you thinking of?
It happens a little bit in Eat, Drink, Man, Woman.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well,
Which is
and
when I saw it like developing here, I was like, "Oh, that's so funny, man! That's like such a it's like a common trope, I guess."
In the mood for love a little bit. I mean, the whole movie is about
Yeah,
like kind of in that way. Obviously, they were together, but
yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
guess
we
they were also
watch.
younger in Eat, Drink, Man, Woman. Like
It's
they were
true.
like young in this one, and they were also
Closer
younger in Eat,
to
Drink, Man, Woman,
yeah
which
their
is why like
age.
immediately I was like, "Oh my god, yeah!" Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. We watch a lot
just
of
a funny
cheating
connection.
movies. I feel like we watch a lot of movies where there's like infidelity, or do we? I don't know. Do we not? Maybe I'm
I
just
don't know.
projecting.
I I mean, in the mood for love.
Oh, you agree it's infidelity? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Don't. Obviously, Battleship Potemkin.
Yeah, their partners were cheating on them late. I knew that already. God.
Excalibur.
Well,
There's definitely some cucking in there.
there's a little bit of cucking before the Excalibur gets plunged into the dragon's spine.
Mulholland
Ah!
Drive, the piano teacher, the killer, kind of. Nashville. Anyway,
Yeah, I guess a
Letterbox.
lot of I like fraught relationships at the very least. Like
Yeah,
saying fraught relationships is sort of yeah. It's I
yeah,
think it's just interesting, right? Like it makes the story more interesting, even if like it's not about that. It's like I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, and cheating can be like a because there's a lot of cheating. This is probably our most cheating heavy movie, I would say. This movie is,
Yeah.
other than maybe In the Mood for Love. Yeah, I guess it can be symbolic of so many things. You know, it can be like
Mhm.
restlessness, it can be midlife crisis, it can be existential problems, it can be like, secret
Both of our
life,
partners are
whatever.
cheating on us with each other, you know, whatever, right? Let's
I
role
ate
play.
too much McDonald's. Which
This
the
Taco Bell's just
McDonald's
not sitting right.
there's McDonald's in this movie, and I would like when in the beginning when they're at the wedding and they NJ takes Yang Yang to McDonald's, I was like, oh my god, we
They
can't escape
also
it.
there's like branding in this movie, which is like weird to me. I'm kind of used to them like to brands not being so, I guess, visible at times.
Hmm.
But if they're drinking like a Coke, like you see like the Coca-Cola
It's a
logo on
Coke,
it.
yeah, right, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it's like very clearly Coca-Cola. Which I don't know, it's just like funny to me.
That is funny and like intentional, right? Like
Yeah,
probably like very,
yeah, oh yeah,
obviously there's a lot of themes, capital T themes in this movie. So I think similar to Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, I think that there's a lot to probably be said about like changing economic roles or like economic anxieties. I kind of picked up on a lot of that. Obviously, the NJ and Adi characters both like have this whole business and money problems, and kind of like the
yeah,
changing mores around business are a huge influence in NJ's arc specifically. And so, um, yeah, I picked up on the branding too in that way. And the McDonald's one was
yeah,
the first one that jumped out to me.
yeah. They also had what was it New York Bagel, or there it was like
Oh,
some bagel
maybe.
place, and
Okay.
like they go back to it twice, I think.
Oh,
The one
yes.
time,
Right.
yeah, because the one time's earlier, it's with I want to say Ying Ying. I forget what her name was. The daughter,
The daughter is Ting Ting.
Ting Ting.
Yeah.
And and her friend. That's
Hmm.
where they went after they like confronted the guy, and like
Right.
that's where like they hung out
Yeah.
for a bit, and then like she left, yada yada.
Right.
And then they go back to that one later too. But it was just like I think it was someone else that went there.
Yeah.
But yeah, reused set. Beep beep.
I don't know how much of this was sets. I feel like a lot of this is probably on location. But
Yeah. Reused location. I don't know, but yeah. I noticed it. It was nice. I kind of enjoy that. It makes the world feel like lived in, right?
mhm.
At least to me, I enjoy seeing them like return to, or like seeing other people like just inhabit the same spaces that like our characters do, right?
This is a super well realized, lived in movie. Like even from the
Yeah,
beginning, after when they return to the house before the grandmother has falls into the coma, that house is like this movie is beautiful every single second, but the house especially is like lived in and rich in color, and like there's just so much depth, not so much even just like environmental storytelling in the way that we've talked about in the past with sometimes like production design and things like that, but um yeah, just like the way it evokes a mood, I think is again, lived in, not perfect, not even necessarily cozy, but just like
Mhm.
there are real people living here. You can see all the details of their lives, and yeah, it's not a safe or settled feeling apartment, which is different than like I would say Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, for example, or In the Mood for Love. Not to keep comparing to these Chinese movies, but like um they do have these warm or cozy or romantic kind of interiors in those movies, but then this one is not that. It's lived in, but it's routine. It is not like deeply emotional in that way, but the movie is emotional. It's an interesting kind of composition.
Yeah, yeah. I think the like you get to see into their lives, right?
Hmm.
Is it's like pretty poignant because you get to see like their hobbies and stuff sort of strewn about. Um, and I mean like the characters interact with that stuff, right? Like
Hmm.
when there's like stuff on like a dresser or a desk or a table, like the characters are there and they're interacting and they're I mean it's like a it's not just the environment, it's a part of the scene, right?
Right.
I think it's a good comparison to make, especially to In the Mood for Love, maybe just because we've seen it pretty recently, or Eat,
Yeah.
Drink, Man, Woman. But like they're, I'm not going to say that they're filmed similarly, but
No, because I
I
don't
mean a
think they
lot of like stuff
are.
inside. I
Yeah.
think this maybe maybe a little bit of a departure, but um, I don't know. Uh, the the difference between like that main house, right? I'll call it the main house, versus like Odd D's house that we see inside of a few times, right?
Oh yeah.
Like it's just like that's like not lived in. Like there's nothing. It's like all white walls, and like even his wife, yeah, his wife when she
Hmm.
like got home the one time was like looking around and trying to find the
Right, looking
phone.
for him. Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's like everything like that looked like a set, right? Like everything was sort of like in its place, but she was like, "Where's the phone? Like, where's the phone? Like, what is going on here?" Because like
You know what?
nothing was, hmm,
No,
I say
finish your
nothing was
thought.
like sort of set up, right? Like they, it
Right.
didn't feel like a place where people lived. Yeah. Anyway.
Which reminded me of the piano teacher, the stark kind of
Mm,
like yeah, like someone lives here, but do they? Like kind of a thing. Like the piano teacher is a
yeah.
little bit
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
like lived in that way just because there's also the mom, but there's a sterility or like an artificiality in that movie as well of like,
Mhm.
everything's placed a little bit too much, not like someone was actually using it immediately before the shot.
Yeah. Yeah. I was uh I looked at that as sort of I guess adding to the I don't know what to call it. Not tight knit. Like wound up sort of personality that he had.
Hence,
The very
yeah,
repressed and sort of like everything
yeah.
has a place. Everything needs to be in its place. Which I like borderline OCD, not OCD, not I don't want to I don't
Right.
even want to say borderline because like that is like a very specific like that's referring to a very specific thing. But like evoking that right. So.
Yeah. 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 Which I appreciate that this movie does not ever really bubble up into anything that like outburst emotional crazy like bleh.
Mhm.
Like the way that a lot of these movies that we've seen have these like extremely dramatic climaxes. This
Mhm.
movie does not. I mean, obviously some very intense stuff happens in this movie, but it's not dealt with in like screaming and crying and whatever, like and these like crazy acting uh like exercises. Everything
Yeah.
is a lot
Yeah. Yeah.
more grounded in this one. So
Mhm. I think grounded's a really good term for it too. The whole movie feels grounded. Like it feels like you're like living alongside or like taking a peek into the lives of these people, right? It doesn't feel like it's a like crazy over. It doesn't feel like a play, right? It's not like some crazy over the top. Like you're not
yeah,
seeing like these people at like the worst or the best times of their lives, right? It's not these huge. I mean, there are huge swings of emotion, but it's not like, I guess, like it's not blah. It's not in your face about it.
Yeah, it's not dramatized, I think.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
the most, and none of it, like even the outbursts that do happen, like I'm thinking specifically of the fuck, what is NJ's ex's name? Whatever her name is.
Oh, Sherry.
Sherry? Yeah, I was gonna say she has like the Americanized name. Like
Yeah.
even when she in the beginning, when at the elevator, when they first meet, she like leaves. She's like, "Oh, we should reconnect. Here's my business card." I was like, "Ooh, she played that kind of cool." And then she immediately comes back like 5 seconds later, and she's like, "Why did you leave me? Why did you make me wait? I was waiting for you." I was like, "Whoa, I need you to chill." But then
Yeah,
like she doesn't, at the end she kind of gets to that same level of emotion, but does not. It doesn't turn into a screaming match between them. It's kind of very one-sided in that way. He doesn't like snipe back at her or anything, even when she's like, "What's wrong with you?" So.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's understated in a lot of ways, and even
Mhm.
like I, I don't know. I mean, I feel like they approached a lot of things in a very sort of like understated manner. Like the guy trying to kill himself with the, or possibly trying to kill himself with the gas leak. And even like their neighbors being like stabbed to death, like very sort of like
Yeah.
understated. Like they really just they're like, wow, that's a shame. Mom died. Fuck, man. Like it's like
Yeah.
that's the tragedy. It's like, wow, like I don't know. I don't think it's unrealistic by any means, but I do think it's interesting what is sort of like highlighted and like what affects the family and what doesn't, essentially, right?
Yeah. What's shown on screen is just as important as what is not in a way. And so, yeah, these, like each of these characters is going through their own arc, is having all of these, pretty turbulent things happen to them. But again, they're grounded. So it's not, yeah, it doesn't feel like, oh, and we're definitely going to see the scene of the boyfriend stabbing the whatever the teacher or whatever whoever it was, the
Hmm.
which that whole thing, when okay, so when she first, Lily is the neighbor, the apartment girl's name, when she first
Hmm.
sees the teacher and her mom, and she has that outburst, I was like, and she's like, "How could you?" or something like that, and he's like, "Oh, teachers have
Yeah.
feelings and needs too. We're people
Yeah.
too," and
Teachers are
she's like,
humans too. Yeah. Yeah.
"Yeah." I was like, "Whoa, are they supposed to be like, did she have a thing for him? Like, is there something going on there?" And I was like, "No, we didn't see anything hinting toward that other than this."
Mhm.
And then toward at the end when they're like, "Oh, he had a relationship with the mom and the daughter." I was like, "Whoa, like there's a whole
Yeah.
interiority to, or yeah, like a whole life happening next door that we don't even know about." And we do see this girl, but it's only a slice of it. Um, so it was shocking.
Yeah. Yeah. It is kind of crazy. But I mean, I, I feel like that's definitely a part of the movie. Like, I mean, obviously it's intentional, right? Like what we do get to see, like we get to see that outburst, but we don't get to
Yeah.
see like the rest of the history. Um, which would be super interesting because like it does, for the most part, only focus on what was her last name? Yang family? Yang? Jean, the Jean family.
John. Yeah.
So it's like it's super interesting to get like peeks into like their neighbor's life, which I think happens too, right? Like just
Mhm.
being a person, you get sort of peeks into your neighbor's life every now and again, and like you don't get the full history or backstory, and like I
Yeah.
don't know, sometimes you don't get to figure out what happened until you see it on the news, which is like crazy, but that's life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The um just coming back to the way this movie looks a little bit, I do think this is a beautiful, rich movie, but the camera work is also just as understated as the performances and the plot itself. I feel like
Mhm.
it's beautiful, that's bursting with color, especially in the beginning at the wedding, like all of the red. I
Yeah,
was like, this movie invented the color red. Like
yeah,
like
yeah.
red has never looked so red as it does in this movie. But then
It
the
feels like old like cameras and stuff like Fujifilm when they like when you would like take the picture and it seems like almost oversaturated with how like
yeah,
certain
fuck
colors
yeah.
look. Not in a
Yeah.
bad way by any means though,
No.
right? Like it's really cool to look at. It's just like definitely like, oh, this was like shot at like a different time, like in a different period of
Yeah.
human history, I guess. Yeah.
Well, and that's what like they're the camera work itself, like the actual cinematography is not very cute. Like it doesn't,
Hmm.
this could be a movie that's like really cutesy or like really like quaint or not quaint. What am I trying to say? Like a little bit too clever, I guess, with like some of the
Yeah.
like symbolism or like the way it shoots the characters. And it doesn't do that. Instead, it's a lot more reserved and kind of locked down. Like we don't get a ton of close ups, for example, of people's faces. Like we don't, we see people from behind a lot. We see people, kind of in long shots, a lot of long shots in this movie, that kind of have this like objective almost as opposed to like, really close up, emotionally baked in, kind of shots. We're getting these, objective scenes. Like I think of the, in Tokyo, NJ and Sherry on the steps when they're kind of talking about like basically what went wrong between them and they're walking through that
Yeah.
park. It's all shot from so far away that like you can't see their facial expressions even necessarily, but you still feel the reserved emotion of both of them kind of breaking
Mhm.
through just from their performances. And so, yeah, I appreciated that because I do feel like we often see these movies where, yeah, the emotion is maybe underplayed with the performances, but then the cinematography brings it out or heightens it. And in this case, no, they are both pretty locked down, which was nice. A lot more,
Mhm.
yeah, slow and kind of meditative in that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They do that a lot. Like you said, and I mean, feels weird to compare it to like Jean Dielman, which obviously is very different in a
Sure.
lot of ways.
No, but
Like
same, yeah, yeah,
yeah, same sort of like framing, I guess, where like if you're in a room of a house, like they'll just you just in that room for a bit, right? And
yeah,
it very much so does feel like you're an observer, right? Like you're
yeah,
like watching this family, and like you get to like see it from like, oh, like, well, I guess like I am standing in this doorway now for like 4 minutes.
yeah.
And like I don't know, I think that's super interesting and
If
cool. I do agree that there's not really a ton of like camera tricks used, but there are a few like maybe not like hugely visually interesting shots, but shots that would be like difficult technically.
Oh, for sure, there are definitely some
Yeah,
shots that are like impressive without being like showstopper or like
yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah.
definitely a lot of like obviously Yang shooting the backs of people's heads and that like photo montage of that like or
Hmm.
looking through the photo book. Those are cool. um there's some of the symbolism of like the girl going swimming and then him Yang going to like the what was it, like a planetarium or like AV class where
Hmm.
they're like, oh, thunder started the whole, it was the beginning of everything and he
Oh,
had just seen like up the girl's skirt or whatever. Like
it
there's a lot of like stuff like that, you know.
it the I remember that line specifically too, because like so like
Yeah.
it's because she like opens the door and then like he
And
turns and
gets,
she's right
yeah,
there and like
yeah,
yeah, yeah, it gets like a panty shot and then it goes it's like and then like because it was talking about how clouds form and it was like
yeah,
as like the opposite particles like
right,
charge up, right? Eventually it gets too much and then the forces of
yeah.
attraction make them like explode into thunder and that creates
Okay.
and that's what first created life. And I was like, all right, well, first of all, that's not true, but it's cool. It's cool.
um I have to say I'm taking a stand here. I
And she's
hate the word
silhouetted with the light. Anyway, sorry, go on, go on.
I hate the word panties. I hate the
Yeah.
word panties. I hate that word. The way people feel about the
Mm.
word moist, that's how I feel about panties. It's terrible.
Yeah, not a big fan of it. I avoid
No.
saying it if possible, but
Yeah.
it's usually pretty
Yeah.
easy. But yeah,
Yeah. The only time I want to hear that word is if we're talking about the panty raid episode of SpongeBob
yeah,
specifically.
yeah.
That's the
I
only
you
time
know
it's okay.
I even when I was a kid, like that was the first time I was like, panty raid. I was like,
Yeah.
that sounds weird,
Why
man.
would you
Like
do that? Yeah.
I don't know what that word. like
um
and now I think it's like baked in. So like when people say panty, I think gonna miss the panty raid,
panty
and I'm like,
raid.
I just
Yeah.
cannot take you seriously now. Like from now until
It
forever. Sorry.
There's something about it just being like a pervy word. I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
it It's
It is.
yeah. Is it like because it's just short for pantyhose,
Yeah.
or I would imagine, or pantaloons? Like I imagine is where it comes from. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
there's just something about it that just makes me uncomfortable. Like I'm like, this is not. It evokes like a certain type of imagery of underwear too. Like that is,
Yeah.
I don't know, weird. Yeah. Anyway.
I would think that it would be like the dirty word for pantyhose, right? Like
Yeah.
by shortening it to panty, they're like, well,
Ugh.
pantyhose. Yeah, like
I'm gonna
yeah.
bleep us saying this the whole
Yeah.
time. Um, before we keep talking about the visual language of this movie, if you had to guess, what are the run times of Jean Dielman versus Yi Yi? Like, don't look, don't look,
I
don't
know, I'm
look.
not looking. You
Okay.
can see my face. I'm not looking.
I just said you looked off screen. No cheating.
That's my other screen. That's the screen up here. He was what, 2 minutes 53 seconds.
Watch it on TikTok.
I am living at 60 times the speed of anyone else in the world. No, it was 2 hours and 53 minutes. Jean Dielman, I would say, clocked in at what, 2 hours 48 minutes?
Do you think Jean Dielman was shorter than Yi Yi?
I guess not. All right. 3 hours and 12 minutes.
It's 3 hours and 22 minutes. So
10 off.
it's
Not
kind of
bad,
crazy.
Not bad.
I would have thought that John Dielman was like almost a full hour longer than Yi Yi, just from like the
It
watching
does feel
experience.
it.
Yeah. Which obviously that's the point of that movie. But also Yi Yi was a lot faster than I anticipated too. I was like, all right, we're gonna go in, we're watching this very like serious, prestigious, like drama, you know, existential, like themes, slow cinema, like all, and it was not. Part of that is the episodic nature. Like since we're focusing and constantly switching between these characters and most of them do have full arcs, I think it does move a little bit faster with the pacing. But yeah, it is it's shocking how long it is.
I feel like you could make a like fully fleshed out movie about just one of the characters here.
And it would be a full
and
movie.
I feel like that's
yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of what the movie's trying to say as well, too, right? It's that like you're focused on this family, but like all of them have lives, and like all of the other people nearby also have lives.
Yeah.
But like these are the lives of the people that you are watching, that you're like privy to watch right now. Like how cool is that?
True. And we want to watch them.
Which was
yeah.
We do want to watch. We want to watch. But that was super interesting to me, just as like a viewing experience. Also, the website that I watched it on, every time you paused it, it would like zoom out slightly and like make the picture black and white. So that added to like the prestige aspect for me, at least. I know this is dumb, but like for me, I was like, oh wow, fancy. Even though I had to like change my closed captioning several times to find one that worked in like certain patches because it would just cut out entirely.
You know, you have my Criterion login. Like you have the credentials.
I know. It was also,
and yet
it's like the movie was like $2.99 on like multiple like video services if I wanted to watch it that way. And yet,
well, you want to watch, and so
I want to watch, right?
What did you think of the ending? You just mentioned like, oh, the point of this movie is like any one of these people has a full, rich life, you know.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the end with Yang Yang in the funeral? Spoilers.
Yeah, the kid.
The kid.
His
name's Yang Yang. Hello.
Yang.
Did you not feel a strong attachment to this kid? I felt a very, especially when they were like, I was like, he's drowning. They're about to fucking kill this kid. It's gonna kill me. They got me.
I thought that at one point. Yeah. But
yeah.
no. Especially like the way that scene is shot when he like jumps into the pool and then, like
it's
you hear
tense.
Him struggle a bit, and then like the water sort of starts to even out. And it's like
and then it cuts for like 5 minutes to somewhere else to another scene. You're like, oh my god.
And then
show me the kid.
Walks in squishing later, and it's like,
and he's like smirking.
Okay, cool.
It's cute. Yeah, it's really cute.
Yeah. She's like, "Is it raining that hard? Go get changed."
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, that sort of drove home the point of the movie, where he's like, "Oh, like I want to show people." What does he say? I want to show people things that they haven't seen, and like that's why he was taking pictures of the backs of people's heads. And so I was like, oh, so like I mean, obviously, like even like being a huge part of someone's life, it's tough to like really like understand what's going on with them inside of their heads, right? And so like I like kind of the closest you can get is to like be there with them, and that's what
Yeah.
this movie sort of allows us to do, is to be there with them, whether it's at like their highest moments or their lowest moments, right? And so yeah, I mean, I don't know, I that's just sort of drove it home for me, I guess.
It's it's interesting you bring that up because when the guy, Fatty or whatever his
Yeah,
Fatso, I can't remember what, yeah, Fatty,
I,
which
so
like, okay.
I had two people who had their names like translated to Fatty. One was the guy who stabbed the neighbors, right?
Yeah, that was the, yeah, and
Yeah.
then Fatso is what they called Adi at one point. Someone was like, "See, Fatso, this is how you should
So,
treat your wife or whatever." Like,
oh,
yeah,
okay. Well, Adi's one friend. Oh no, that was Piggy. Maybe, I don't know.
Piggy,
I
Piggy,
I
yeah,
got
the
different.
Piggy
Yeah,
was the friend. Yeah,
I had different like like different translations across different
yeah,
what is it, like text sets? Or I don't know how they do that,
yeah.
but yeah, it was interesting to say the least. Um,
If you had
because I
watched on
got confused.
Criterion, it would have been consistent. Just
That's
saying.
that's
Yeah.
true. I did get confused at one point because I was like, Fatty, isn't that like this girl's uncle's like
Yeah,
friend? Like, what's going on here? Like
yeah,
he owes him money, and I was like, well, I got it after a little bit. I was like, oh, it's a nickname, and like they're just translating all
yeah.
the nicknames the same or whatever, like something silly. I was like, that's dumb. Anyway, go on. What were you gonna say about him?
All good. When they talk about movies, oh, it's 8 p.m. I'm yawning. When uh he's talking with Ting Ting about like watching movies, and he says something like, "Oh yeah, now we can live 3 times as long because of movies, because we get to, see other people's whatever perspective." And she's like, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess so." And he's like killing, like you see what it's like to kill people. I was like, "Oh, this is bad. I don't, get away from this man. Stay away from her."
That
So
they gave me Pulse vibes. I'll be honest with you. Just like
yeah,
that
no,
conversation, I was like,
for
ooh,
sure. Yeah, someone's gonna get
because
stabbed here. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and also like I think it was the college scene. Like one of the people was just like,
Oh yeah.
and like with the power of technology, we can see into each other's minds and lives, and like we
Yeah.
can live as each other and die. And I was like, well, okay, all right, like what's going on here?
Which, okay,
Hmm.
so I wanted to ask you this, but I think I just think that him saying that ties in with your idea of like seeing other people's
Mhm.
perspective. But
Yeah.
do you really like? I know we're both into RPGs. Obviously, we both watch movies. I don't ever really think of like storytelling as in like in general, no matter the format, as a way or a means to live other lives. I feel like that's a common thing that people talk about, like the power of movies is like the getting to see other people's perspectives on things. I don't
Mhm.
necessarily feel that way directly. I
Mhm.
appreciate the emotion of storytelling, like the but I guess I consider that kind of separately from seeing someone else's perspective. I don't know.
Mhm.
What do you think? Does that make sense?
Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that seeing like the like I I don't know. So very often, a lot of what we're seeing is like the endpoint of like many, like a much larger function, right? Like, so like if you're which I don't know. I'm gonna say a lot of things which are like kind of obvious, but like I don't know. But
Go
like
for
when
it.
you're talking to someone, like obviously they have had a life up until now, and you don't know all of it.
That's what you
But like
think. Yeah.
true.
Sorry.
But when they like share stuff with you, right? You get like sort of like insights, and you're like, oh, like that's why you were like this, right?
Mhm. Yeah, that's what this
Non-derogatory.
podcast is. Yeah.
That's what this podcast is. Yeah, Lane tries to fucking DSM-7 me. Tries to figure out what the fuck is going on up there.
I'm
Um,
inventing new
no.
DSMs.
Yeah, yeah. 5 isn't
Diagnostic
enough.
stupid manual. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, but I think movies are just like a conversation in that same way. But like you're talking about the emotion of movies, you can sort of like convey things differently, obviously through a movie than you can just through like speaking to someone or through showing
Right.
someone pictures. And a lot of that also comes down to like if you're evoking a certain emotion within a film for a scene, right? Especially if it's like an emotion that our main character is feeling, right? Like, oh, it's sad and it's raining and like all of the colors are muted and I don't know, X, Y, and Z. Uh, it can help, at least me personally, it helps me relate. I mean, actually, I don't know. I guess maybe it doesn't help me relate to the main character as much as it like underlines like, oh, like this person is sad right now, and you can see why they're sad,
Yeah.
like the events that have led up to this point. So I guess it does kind of like breed empathy in that way. Which I don't know. I don't think it's like, again, like I haven't seen very many movies. I mean, now I have. Now I've seen like a
You've seen
significant
almost
amount more.
100 movies. I mean, we'll
I
be at
know.
movie 100 in a few weeks, in like 6 weeks
I
or
know
so.
we've been talking about
Yeah.
that recently. I'd say I've probably maybe seen like 200 movies throughout my whole life at this point.
You've
right?
seen more than 200
Um,
movies. You've probably seen like
maybe.
500 movies, but sure.
No,
Yeah.
that's too much. That's way too much, Lane.
Anyway. Anyway.
But I don't know, like I think they help evoke emotions more effectively than like just talking would, but I've always felt that like books are probably the best for that. And I think that's also just because like I've read a lot of books,
yeah.
read way more, and there's a lot more that you can sort of do with books in a certain sense than you can with movies. Because like you can directly hear the internal monologue of a character and it's not like awkward or clumsy and it's like it's very direct. Or it can be, sorry, but
I know you've seen Goodfellas. Don't tell me that the fucking narration of a character's interior monologue. Well, I'm not even necessarily.
Wait, whoa! I think
Yeah,
Goodfellas is a great example.
Whoa, hello, whoa.
Wait. Let's hang out on Goodfellas.
Wait. Let's hang out on Goodfellas. That sounds great. Go ahead.
let's bounce and do tricks on Goodfellas.
Let's just go watch.
For a second.
Listen, Ray Liotta, rest in peace, King. Marry me. Also, the two most beautiful people that have ever been on a screen together. Him and Lorraine Bracco in that movie are like, I just want to see him make out. God.
Yeah,
anyway.
hell yeah. But like hearing, I don't know, like hearing them like talk and like you can see how it's like, oh yeah, like I could totally get like wrapped into that. I could totally get wrapped up into that, like 100%.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is gonna be.
Like I think I should bounce and do tricks on it.
I think I should bounce and do tricks on it. Yeah. No. I think the substance also does this to a certain degree, right? Where
fuck yeah, let's go.
Like
substance mention, air horns. Anyway. Yeah.
At least for me personally, right, where you're like, oh, like I'd just be different, right? Like I could totally survive.
I mean, I would be different, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But like the whole thing is like it's just like an allegory, like hey, like watch out, and you're like, it's like nah, fuck that. Like I don't need to watch out. Me personally, I would never betray myself. Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, I would. Have I told you that I would be able to do the substance? I could do it. Like setting aside that movie. The substance
episode, yeah.
We didn't do an episode on the substance, Chief. So
what?
We didn't do an episode on the substance.
We didn't?
No.
Didn't we?
No. No, we didn't. No, we just talked about it. I paid you to go see it.
And then like immediately come home and record?
No. I mean, I think we recorded, but we didn't do an episode on that movie. I promise. I swear on my life. I Venmo'd you. I was like, you must go see this movie. But we didn't actually. We recorded a different episode. But we talked. We did like a tight 10 on the substance. But
oh, that's nuts. Wow. Okay.
Setting aside that movie was like scared straight for ED stuff, I do think I could do the substance because I know, like, number one, I'm hot and young. And so if I took the substance now, the version of me, the substance version would be only, yes, listen, I have it all fucking worked out. It's perfect. I'm smarter than this. Would be not so hot and so young that the versions of our lives would be that different. And so I feel like the draw of like, well, I gotta keep stealing from older Lane when older Lane's only at most 10 years older than younger Lane. Anyway, I'd have it perfect. It would be perfect.
Lane,
and I could sleep.
You could steal so much more before you started like rotting away.
I think I would be too scared to do that, honestly. Like I would be too like,
listen,
no, I saw that movie.
catch my body rotting in the walls with the black mold. All right, that's all I'm gonna say.
That's true. You would be Pulse and not not the
True.
substance. This is like greatest hits, the episode.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. We're getting them all.
the other coming back to like something we talked about 10 minutes ago, the other
Mhm.
like piece of visual language that kind of I noticed very early was actually right before I want to say the title cards came up, where we first see Lily, the neighbor with Fatty, and they're like under this overpass, and on the one side of the overpass is like all these trees, and it's like the side that the apartment is on, and then the other side is like just like the road, and it's just like gray cars, like, and I was like, oh, that's a cute little like visual like reference of like boundary between these two, like natural versus unnatural or human society or whatever. And like we revisit that underpass or overpass or whatever many times,
Mhm.
and it's always the location that this young couple has their meetings and fallings outs and whatever. And
Yeah.
it's very cyclical in that way, which I think is also the point of this movie, is that like everything's just one big cycle, right? We open with a wedding and we end with a funeral, and then the
Mhm.
little kid being like, I'm old too, which just was so cute and sad.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
you're not old. You've got so much life. You're so wise though.
Yeah.
But so, but yeah, there's little visual moments like that, but nothing super duper obvious, I guess, or annoying to the point of
Yeah.
cutesiness. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. They didn't sort of beat you over the head with it, and this was before the like realm of the internet, so they're not clip farming, you know.
That's true. Um Coming back to the perspective take, I guess, on this.
Yeah.
Um what did you make of the Adi and I forget his girlfriend or his wife's name?
Oh.
It's like Xiao Zhan? I can't remember. But um
I also don't remember, and I can't find it easily on the Wikipedia page. Sorry.
you're fine. But so like that whole thing, like he seems to, cuz the movie opens with a pretty one of the more emotionally intense or like yeah, I guess hysterical, not in like a gendered way, but just like one of the more like bleh parts of the movie is when the Adi's ex Yun
Hmm.
when she shows up and she's like sobbing in the grandmother's lap, being like, I wasn't good enough for you. It should have been me that your son is marrying, which like
Hmm.
way to make me hate a character right off the bat. But like, um, but yeah, so just her arc and then him going back to her, but it seemed like he was just kind of using her. I don't know.
Hmm.
There was a lot of using of people in this movie, especially using of women.
Yeah. I mean, again, their relationship
You're
also
like,
kind of
I
reminded
get
me.
it. Yeah.
No, no. I mean, their relationship kind of reminded me of Eat, Drink, Man, Woman. I mean, like there was the guy
Mm,
who like sort of used, I forget which of the characters, but one of the sisters was like essentially used by a guy who just sort of like bounced in
yeah.
and out. And then like when she like went to confront him, like he was at his girlfriend's place, assumedly.
Right. Right. Because he had moved on and they'd gotten engaged or something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I mean, I don't know. He's not the first one to ride the bus without a pass, right? So, which is a phrase that they say
That
like
was funny.
multiple times in
Yeah.
this movie, and I think
Hmm.
it's that one is really funny to me. I don't know. I like a lot of like idioms, and
Yeah.
especially like idioms that like transcend language barriers, and that's a great one. So,
Well, yeah, because they're like, oh, we used to ride the bus without the pass or whatever, and then
yeah,
they're
yeah. In
like,
the
oh, and
wedding,
here comes the bus driver, which is
yeah.
really funny.
There's also like there's a scene. There's a couple of scenes because I mentioned it like two or three times in the film. But there was one where like they're like driving around, and like someone sort of like jokingly says that to I think it was two guys talking like in that like a taxi or whatever, and like the one guy sort of like jokingly says it to the other, and like they laugh, and
Hmm.
it like trails off like so awkwardly because like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
forget the exact context behind it, but I think it might have been NJ and Adi. and they were just sort of like hey, like I think NJ was sort of saying like, hey, like all right, but like watch out, right? Like you're married.
Yeah, it was after
So
the baby shower, I think, because
yes,
Yun
yeah,
Yun shows up and there's the whole fight that happens,
yeah.
which is just again, you know, it could be there aren't a lot of like climaxes, or there are several climaxes in this movie. There are not like it's not like all of the action comes to a head. You know, all of
Mhm.
these various stories have these little outbursts and peaks and valleys that overlap with each other sometimes, but not perfectly.
Mhm.
So yeah, no,
Yeah,
that is a
it's sort
a
of
funny
like
scene.
yeah. But it's like it's a bunch of rolling like waves, right? Like you're not because it's
Hmm.
not following like a linear story structure. So it's like there's no. I mean, there are defined like rising actions and falling actions, but they're not. It's not like one set like story that you can sort of see
Yeah,
the arc of. It's just several, like
yeah,
vines twisting around each other. I don't know, which
yeah,
I enjoy. I like that a lot. I think it's really cool. It's an interesting way to tell stories.
yeah. I do wonder because Eat Drink Man Woman is also Taiwanese, and we shouldn't lump
Mhm.
all these movies in as Chinese
We
because
shouldn't.
obviously
No, yeah.
Taiwan and Hong Kong and all of that, because that's um
Well,
In the
Taiwan
Mood for
is
Love is
see.
Hong Kong.
Hmm. So
Go ahead.
Taiwan is a sovereign nation. Hong Kong is still sees itself as a
Right,
part of China, right? It's just that it's
right,
capitalist
right,
instead of
right,
communist. Like, there's a
right.
much larger difference between Taiwan and China than Hong Kong and
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But so yeah, I would be interested to watch more from Edward Young of like because I know that he's deceased, but I know he had a decent like he had a pretty decent filmography before this. I've heard this was his last movie.
Mhm.
I've heard of Brighter Summer Day is the other like very well known famous movie by him. It's about 10 years older than this one. Um, and that is also kind of like it's set in the 60s, but it is you know, a drama kind of family and moving relationship stories type deal.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't. It's just it is a different approach than Eat Drink Man Woman, which is an Ang Lee movie, but you know, does have yeah, just like a different kind of cinematic style, a different approach entirely. I think
Yeah.
to Taiwan culture and movies in general, but you know,
Mhm.
this movie feels Yi Yi feels a lot more unique, I guess. Eat Drink Man Woman is more analogous to other movies we've watched, whereas Yi Yi feels more singular.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. I mean, it is interesting to draw parallels between the two, obviously, but um,
Our favorite
yeah, both
pastime on
very distinct.
this show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
hey, we can't draw
Um,
perpendiculars here, so
I do want to talk about the lead actor.
I don't know what that means.
Perpendicular.
No. I don't
You
know what I meant by that joke.
oh, do you ever know what the fuck you mean by any joke?
Yeah,
My
most of
God,
the
you
time.
just
Most
say
of the
them.
time.
You're shooting from the hip. Wu Nian Jen is the name of NJ's actor, and I think he does a really phenomenal job. I mean, the you know the daughter also she gets the kind of like the second most fleshed out, I'd say, arc. Um,
Hmm.
you know, but he you know he gets the most characterization. Obviously, he has all these threads with not only holding his family together or you know being there for his family or just being around his family, you know, because he does have these flaws of the way he, I say supports in air quotes, the way he supports his wife when she comes back and she's like having this breakdown of like, I have nothing to talk about with, you know, grandma. Like I have nothing, all I do is just talk about the same things over and over. And his response is like, well, we'll just have the nurse read so you don't have to do it. It's like, do you even hear what she's saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like she's
Well, I
having
mean,
this like
also,
existential crisis. Yeah, and he kind of is
right,
so absorbed in his own thing. Yeah.
right. I mean, and I feel like that's like very common where like you can talk
It's
past someone
realistic.
where,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like you're describing an issue and they're hearing like the very like concrete parts of the issue, but they're not
Yeah.
hearing the like the symptom or they're hearing symptoms
The
but not
root
like the cause.
cause. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like,
That's like
well,
a
like this is
yeah.
someone like begging for meaning in their life, right? And you're saying like, oh, no, it's fine, right? Like, we'll have the AI
You don't need
we'll have the
meaning.
nurse
Yeah,
do it,
right.
right? Like, yeah.
The AI. Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like that's commonly cited as like a way that men versus women approach conflict, or like approach
Mm,
conflict resolution, of like that men will offer solutions when women are not looking for solutions. They're looking for like a vent. Now, I don't necessarily think that that's true. I think that it depends on the person, of course, but think it's well represented here. Where the deeper
yeah.
emotional issue is not being addressed, the concrete
Right.
issue is. So it's
Right.
not really
Right.
about solutions, but yeah.
Right. 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 I think that's. I mean, it's not really about. I think is the sort of root cause of where that argument comes from,
Hmm.
right? Because it's like, I don't know, being nagged to take out like the trash all the time. It's like, all right, well, like at a certain point, you have to understand it's not about the trash, right? It's about like respecting the other person, respecting that, like, hey, like this is sort of like what you do, like in the relationship. So like, if they have to keep telling you, it's like you're disrespecting like your role there, right? And
Yeah.
you're like, I don't know, you're not taking. Not that you're not taking, well, yeah, you're not taking yourself seriously, you're not taking them seriously, you're not taking the relationship seriously if you're not willing to do, like, such small things. And I think guys use that argument as, like, well, I give solutions, that's what I'm here for, like,
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's like, right, but it's not that the other person wants validation from you, right? It's that they need to know that, like, that you're actually understanding, like, what they're saying,
And
that
what
you're
the
not
issue
just like
is. Yeah.
right, that you're not just
Yeah.
taking the words at like face value, in like a quasi autistic way and being like, oh, like this is your problem. Here is the exact solution to this concrete problem that you have
Right.
given me. And it's like, right,
Right.
like, great, man. That's
Yeah.
not what we're talking about right
Yeah.
now. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that is a very male thing to do, though, right? Like, I think
Yeah.
guys do
Like
that
if
more.
someone is like, yeah, I've set up all of the social media, and like I do all of the editing for the podcast, and then the guy's just like, yeah, that's fine. Like I'll just show up and not actually put in, I don't even know the name of the movie that we're talking about today. Like that's like there's like a concrete solution there, but really it's about the deeper meaning of what you're taking seriously.
Okay, Lane, I'm going to look up the movie for today so that I know it for sure, okay? You like
I
that
don't
concrete
believe you.
solution, huh?
Yeah, I do.
Great.
Um
Or I could go, I'll post right now. Will that make you happy? And then like
yeah,
never
yeah.
post again and be like, what are you talking about? I did it before when you asked me to. What do you mean?
That shit.
I
Oh
thought
my
we're
god.
done with this. You already ratted me out on pod.
What else do you want from me? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying my best over here, man. Okay, I made that one post.
Yeah,
Like,
hello. Yeah. Do you know how
hello.
hard it is for me? Yeah.
How hard it is
to
for me to
log into
Google what
Blue
the
Sky
movie is before we like hop on call. Like,
before I
God,
show up to
man.
the call 15 minutes late because I was hanging out with my
It's
neighbor.
crazy how me being 5 minutes late has spiraled into
It's
this
tripled.
like a ham.
It's spiraled like this movie. Like ham. You're a fucking ham. Um
I'm John Ham. Anyway,
let's talk about the Japanese like trip and the relationship that NJ has with Mr. Ota. Because
yeah,
that's such a crazy, unique like relationship arc. I feel like to like number one, really cool to see just like a Chinese and Japanese character interacting, and it's not fucking weird or like heightened. Like
yep,
that was just
yeah,
refreshing in the
yeah.
beginning. Um but then also, yeah, to have I don't know, I like the way that they talked to each other, and that their relationship very quickly kind of like, they sit down and NJ starts to like lie, and he's like, well, we really like your proposal. We just need more time. And Ota's like, don't fucking lie to me. You're just as bad of a liar as I am. Let's talk about life. Let's talk about women. Like let's
Yeah,
talk about
yeah,
card
yeah.
tricks. It's
He was
it's
so
it's
real for that.
um it's a cool depiction of two dudes kind of finding whatever friendship in this unlikely place, like a deeper meaning than, just this like business transaction.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When they're both sitting at the bar and he like Oda's like, oh, like like, you must have learned piano, right? You know, like, that's a, because, like, he
Yeah.
understands that's, like, a common cultural practice. And, like, NJ goes, like, no, no, yeah, I went to one lesson, they kicked me out, I was that bad.
Mhm.
And then, like, I think it or he either says, like, oh, like, you, or something like that, but it cuts, like, right from their conversation to Oda, like, playing at the piano, like, singing,
Yeah,
just,
he's like,
like,
yeah, he's
boisterously, yeah,
yeah, bringing
life
the
of the
house
party.
down. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
there's a couple of, like, sort of funny transitions, or just, like, scenes like that where they sort of, like, it feels like it is like a joke, like, there's like a setup and, like, right into a
Mhm.
punchline. Later, when NJ is talking to his boss or something, talking to someone at the company, and, like, they're visiting the one really rich investor, or I don't know what he
Mhm.
does.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but he was, like, he was in politics too, for
Woo!
some reason. Oh,
Sorry, there was
there's a bug in
one.
Lane's room.
It just started crawling. It's small though, so I'm okay. I'm gonna don't laugh at me. I'm putting slippers on, so I'm safe. But please
Okay.
continue. Oh God, I looked away for a second and it moved and it's gone. Oh,
Get the slippers on! Get
oh,
the slippers on, quick!
the
Hide the
slippers are
toes!
on, bro. The slippers are on. Wait, okay. Should I try and kill it on mic right now? This is so crazy. I
Throw a
did
slipper at it. Hit it with La Chancla.
no. The slippers are safe. I don't want. Oh, it's a baby. I have to kill it. I'm sorry to any vegans that are listening to this. I don't have anything I can smash it with though. I don't have any like napkins.
I'm sorry to any effective altruists who are listening to this. We are increasing the suffering in the world.
I like don't know what to do, Ricky. This is so
I mean,
crazy.
probably
I wish
nothing. You can probably just ignore it, right? It's just a bug.
it's a centipede.
Okay.
You've seen the house. Surely you have house centipedes. No, you might not because you have 5 cats that actually, well, 4 cats, my bad.
Yeah.
That like actually take care of bugs. My cat's
Yeah.
useless. I've held
Yeah,
him up to bugs and he'll just like look at it. I'm like, you're supposed to attack. He'll just look away. I'm like, please
no,
act like an animal.
they usually catch those outside. I think bugs have, like, labeled, like, this whole apartment like a no-go zone outside of the
Yeah,
ants that I get in the
it's
kitchen
fucking
sometimes.
Chernobyl. Yeah.
Yeah, but uh, I think Archie just, like, attacks, like, any bug that he sees outside on site. The only I'm trying to think. I don't know the last time I've seen a bug inside outside of, like, an ant.
That's so lucky of you. Okay, I'm gonna try and kill this, but you can keep talking if you want, but I
I
might
kind of
make
forgot what I was
sounds.
talking about, to be honest with you.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
You're
This
fine.
is.
Oh.
Yes,
When they were
please.
at, like, yeah, it was like a councilman's place or something, because, like,
Yeah,
they
the
say, like, oh,
investor.
yeah, he's big on, like, women's rights. Like, or, like, he's going to, like, a bunch
Oh
of
yeah,
women's rights speeches,
they t-
and, like,
they talk
as
about
they
like her
say
e
it,
cups or something. Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
well, like, as they say it, it's like, it, like, pans over where it, like, cuts to him, like, sitting in a chair, like, in the darkness, being, like, served grapes from, like, very
Yeah.
scantily clad women, and they're, like,
Yeah.
dipping into the pool and dipping out
Oh
for him. Oh yeah,
God,
it was
that
very
shit is
funny.
so nasty. Yes, it was funny. I agree with you, but I'm sorry. I'm having a moment. Oh my
No, you're
God,
fine.
dude, its blood is like purple.
That's
Ugh.
weird.
Look at this. Do
I
you see
can't see
this?
it, but
It's this like goo on the end
maybe
of the.
I
Oh
can kind of see the
God,
goo. Yeah.
man, I'm gonna fucking die in here. I was just thinking earlier today. I was like, oh, I haven't seen a centipede in a few days. That's nice. Eating my fucking words. I almost just died. Okay, like this is serious.
Yeah, he did. Very serious.
You're an asshole. It is serious. Thanks, Kat, for not helping at all. All right. Anyway, okay, we're back to podcasting. I'll
Cool.
leave all that in. I'll boost
Great.
it. Is there anything else that we want to talk about with Yi? Oh, what'd you think of the title? We didn't talk about what the title
Oh,
means.
yeah. I only glanced at it meant 1-1 on the Wikipedia page, but I didn't read, like, why that was
So I
film's
guess
title means one by one or one after another. When written in vertical alignment, the two strokes resemble the character for two.
Yeah. Well, and then the subtitle is "and a 1 and a 2," which I thought was cute as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of lends to that, like, yeah, different perspectives and different overlapping
like,
segments of life. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Overlapping segments of lights and like the cycles, right? Like it's one after another. So, you talked before, the wedding starts with a wedding, ends with funeral. But the funeral
and a birth.
Yang Yang saying like, oh, like, but now like he's like, well, now that I see like a baby born, I feel old, you know. And I feel like everyone like feels that way, right? Like, I mean, at least for me personally, I still remember the day that my English teacher brought her daughter into it was like a gifted seminar thing we had going on. And
Ricky's
husband,
a gifted kid.
Yeah, I was, and I remember seeing him there, like just a happenstance thing. I didn't know if I would ever see him again, really, right? And now I see them every Christmas, so you know, it's funny. It's funny how life works out. And
cute.
It's also funny to like watch them grow up. You know, it's weird.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you'd like to say about Yi from 2000, directed by Edward Young?
I do not. I liked it. Do you have anything else to say?
I don't. No, I'm glad we watched it.
I
yes.
guess I wanted to ask one of the questions that like I sort of came up with earlier in the film while I was watching it. I was like, oh, I can ask them on the pod, like which narrative they found most compelling. But I think it's kind of, well, I'm not going to say anything. What do you think?
Oh, you think you have an opinion already? Is it stereotypical? Are you stereotyping me? Are you saying
it is? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You're walking into Starbucks and I'm already making you a matcha latte and trying to shoo you out the door. Okay.
Is there a stereotype about matcha lattes? I don't really like matcha.
I don't know.
So.
I am referencing a video
suck.
that I saw where a guy gets stereotyped for that. Yeah.
Well,
I think it's supposed to be like a gay stereotype thing. I don't know.
If you really knew me,
correct me on that. If you know. Anyway.
If you really knew me, you would know I'm a grande triple oat milk hot caramel macchiato. But you know.
No, I wouldn't have known that. No.
Yeah, you would.
Anyway.
That's because you're not. It's because you don't see my perspective, man.
Man, you just don't see it, man. You see all this red around me, man.
I think NJ's got the most compelling. I mean, like, Yang is like the character I want to spend the most time with because it's like, this is a cute little kid and he's great.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for Ting Ting, but I don't really like her adolescent, coming of age thing doesn't really grab me the same way. I would like to see more of the wife, Min Min, but we get like nothing into her real arc. Right? Which, like, hers is the most interesting from, like, an existential, like, my life is meaningless now. What do I have to show for my life? What if I died like my mom or, like, fell into a coma like my mom? Yeah. But we don't get the most of her. So she would be my number one and NJ would be my second. But given that we see the most of NJ, his is the more compelling one for me.
Right. And that's sort of what I figured. But we need a Jean Dielman. We need a Jean Dielman type movie for Min Min, honestly.
We do. That's because it's Sean Dielman. There's probably nothing else to it. It's just Sean Dielman.
Yeah. I also did want to say, the daughter Ting Ting. I think that her story is fairly compelling, just as far as like blaming yourself for someone else's sickness, and then trying to like, it's like, all right, well, like you have to forgive me, right? Like, come on, like, and
it's
like,
a very
having that sort of like loose end. I totally get that, and like even down to like seeing her in class being like made fun of for like falling asleep, even though she was like up late for, and like that also I think comes down to a little like they are not seeing it from her perspective, and like it's very difficult to see things from other people's perspectives when you don't when you don't know what's going on with them, right?
And when you're a kid,
well, but the teacher was the one that made fun of her, so it's true.
Wow. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, they do a lot of that. I like the teacher sort of making fun of the kids because they like just don't
Mm-hmm.
like understand, don't want to try to understand, or like they like belittle
Yeah.
them because they just don't try to see it. Like the one teacher calling Yang Yang he's like, oh, we have like an auteur over here. Look at him making these fancy pictures,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then like Yang Yang gives him like the most neutral face a child can give, and he goes, "What was that? Turn and face the wall! I dare you to try that with me again." You
Yeah,
make that face
it's
to me in
cute.
a dream. You better wake up and apologize.
What is that from?
Oh, you don't remember?
I'm asking you. Do you remember?
I do remember. Do the right thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say. I thought you might just be naming
Making references.
crazy
No,
things.
no,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, no, no, no. I remember it, Lane. Come on.
I'm pretty sure that he says that actually in Reservoir Dogs as well. But
Does he?
I think Harvey Keitel says it too. But anyway,
When?
at one point I think he's talking about. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're not talking about Reservoir Dogs. We're talking about Yi Yi. No, when something you brought up with the way that she's like blames herself, Ting Ting does, for her grandmother falling into the coma, and she does that very childish thing, which is like, maybe if I like say forgive me, no please, really wake up, like that it'll work. Like that there's like the magic of, even though she's like older, she's not like thinking that there's magic necessarily, but it's still just like a childish moment of like wishfulness or like wishful thinking.
Yeah.
That like if I say something with enough emotion behind it, or if I say something and like the moment is right and I'm honest enough or earnest enough, then my dream will come true or my wish will come true, is a very emotional thing. Yeah.
See, I don't really think it's a wish, right? Like I mean, I don't see emotional outbursts.
A plead.
Like
I mean,
outside of it. Yeah.
no,
A plead of higher
yeah.
power, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and just the childishness, and childishness, and not in like a mean way, just like that's a very naive, like kind of
naive, it's
approach
pure,
or thing.
very,
Yeah.
I get that 100%.
But yeah, I'm glad we watched this movie. Oh wait, which was your narrative that you liked the most? Which was the most compelling to you?
Yeah, I mean, it was the one we spent the most time with, right? The most fleshed out, kind of by far. So.
And just, he has the most relationships in the movie. He has the relationship with his ex, his wife, his daughter, his son, his brother, his boss, his friend.
I didn't say Odd D.
Yeah.
It like makes the list at least. I mean, you didn't really mention him, but I think he's interesting, kind of compelling. In like a like wandering salesman type. Stick. I don't know.
Yeah, I see that in that because you're like, okay, this guy's a fucking sleaze, like what? And then when he's like taking the video of his kid, or when he's talking to his mom, those are more compelling, moments with him. They come around, You
can tell that he's trying to do right by those around him.
Yeah,
but like,
even though he's
just like so addicted to taking the easy way
money.
Out. Yeah, he's like,
yeah.
Well, he's just the thing is like he's a schemer, right? And he wants money, but like he doesn't want to like do the hard work behind it. Yeah. So he's like, well, and it's funny because it does work out for him, right? He gets the jade at the end, so
yeah.
So, which would you like first? Because we're doing another Rick's pick in order to prepare for.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. We'll do the Rick's pick, and then let's talk off mic about our next 8 movies that we're gonna watch.
Okay. Next Rick's pick is an animation.
Fuck! It's about to be something shitty. You're about to be like, "Let's watch Beauty and the Beast." No, just kidding. Go ahead. What?
It is, I think.
Let's watch.
I mean,
Cowboy Bebop.
I don't
Sorry.
think this
Go
is
ahead.
a like great movie. But I saw few stills of it that looked like very visually interesting. It's called Naked City. From sorry. What?
Okay. I was gonna just say, and I'm not outlawing this or ruling this now out.
No, we're not watching this movie. Sorry, watchers.
No. I just want to point out that it feels like longer ago because it's been a while since we recorded this episode, but only 2 episodes ago did we do The Thief and the Cobbler. So that's up to you. If you want to watch Wicked City from 1987, directed by Yoshiaki Kawajiri, then that's fine with me. But if you, I'm just putting it out there. But it's fine if you want to. That's okay.
I would still like to. Kawajiri is like known for Ninja Scroll, which is like his like, big movie.
Ooh, and Vampire Hunter D. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, he was a writer on The Animatrix.
Interesting. He's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, he's also like I don't think well known, maybe not well known, but he's like a very good animator. What? I mean, I don't know if he's well known or not. But
oh no.
Oh, okay.
I'm about to send you a poster with some crazy butt cheeks on it.
Yeah, so that's like one of the things that he does. He like does not shy away from fucking sexuality in his movies.
Interesting.
And I've seen Ninja Scroll, which is like very, I mean, very violent and like also like a lot of like weird sexual themes going on in it. I don't know much about Wicked City outside of like one clip of them like driving, and it looks stunning. Now, what I did see was off of the remaster, which I don't know if there is a good online version of the remaster. So we might just be watching like, I mean, not like a shitty version, but a not ideal sort of version of the movie, just because it's going to be clipped online. Whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I'm down. It's been a while since we watched an anime specifically, so
right. I think
I don't think we've watched. Yeah, I don't think we've watched any anime since maybe the Daft Punk movie, which doesn't even really 100% count. So yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
Cool. Read it again for posterity.
Hey, watchers! This next week on We Want to Watch, we'll be watching Wicked City from 1987, directed by Yoshiaki Kawajiri. Tune in then.
A wicked city. It's wicked smart.
Wicked City. Wicked smart.
Cool. I have a feeling this is going to be like the perviest movie we've ever watched. Just like from
I
looking
think it's
at
going to
it.
be up there. Yeah.
Okay.
They're
going to say the word panties
and stuff. It's like it's like right on the borderline. It's like, oh, like she's like holding a what is it? Like a sheet like wrapped around herself. It's like,
of course.
Is that like just for the poster? Like, what's going on here? But it definitely does
surely
seem
it can't
very provocative.
It can't be any worse than the lady from what is that? Lupin the Third hitting the bong and looking like she's sucking dick. Yeah.
oh yeah. Which gets like that like scene has been like copy and like pasted and like vibified.
I remember.
I want to say yeah.
Lo-fi chill beats to smoke weed and be a samurai too. Should we just end with some lo-fi beats?
Probably.
Do you think there's like lo-fi versions of Daft Punk songs?
Yeah, 100%.
You think so? All right, I'll find one. That's it.
Yeah, am I ending this?
I guess so. I don't know. We didn't even like have a good ending.
What do you mean?
Usually we have a good ending.
Lo-fi Daft Punk beats.
Is that all we need?
Chill out and go around the world to.
Should we come up with like an outro?
Like an outro?
See, okay. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If only someone would post on the goddamn Blue Sky, because then you could be like, hey, watchers, follow us on Blue Sky and Letterboxd at We Want to Watch Pod, or whatever it is.
You may yet goad me into this.
Honestly, Ricky, it's been 18 months. I have no fucking faith at this point that you will ever do anything else for this podcast.
Could have turned out 2 babies at this point, bro. Like, what's going on, man? Like a fucking log shoot, you're running right back to the front of the line.
That's actually how I measure time. I could have produced like 1/10 of The Thief and the Cobbler in this time.
Not even, bro. Like 1/20th, maybe.